Why? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another fantastic adventure here with Pete and Jeremy's DnDTime. I am the other dungeon master who is not Pete, which by default kind of makes me but today I'm filling in for Jeremy. That's the kind of humor we're in for tonight, folks.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 would make, again, great joke. But yeah, I'm joined by a fantastic cast of players and characters this evening, as always. Let's take a minute to introduce everybody. So first, we have Oldman McWizardface, the Monstrologist McResearcherface. How you doing, Oldman? You've just leveled up. You've got your title. The world knows you. Do you have your own nature documentary, like your own show at this point?
Ooh, not yet. Just my sketchbook right now. I'm just exhausted.
Oh, has it been one of those kind of...
I finally convinced Mira to start spring cleaning.
Oh, no.
Have you ever seen that woman's house?
You know, I actually haven't. I assume Rip the Rude has not been cooperative in the cleaning.
Oh my god, I convinced her to start cleaning, and so she opens a bag and just starts throwing things into it.
Oh.
She calls it a portal unto realms of stable existences, or a purse. Jeremy, do you know how much a woman can fit into a purse?
It's pretty incredible. I mean, I have a little bit of personal, experience of, trying to like search for like car keys in someone's purse, and man, it's awful. And then they catch you trying to steal the car keys, and it's just even worse.
First of all, what's a car?
Oh, cart keys. You must have misheard me, Oldman. Terrible days getting to you.
Also, do you realize how many purses she has and how many I need to go through to clean out?
Posters? What are the posters of?
How many purses she
Oh, God. Posters of purses. Could she fill a purse with posters of purses?
Oh, I hope not. I'm hoping that we could finish by next spring. Either way, the Trash King is going to be a very happy man.
I mean, the Trash King is always a happy man. Well, Oldman, I'm glad you beat your boss battle the last time we saw you, but you're now up for a much more difficult challenge.
This is the true boss. You've never tried to get a woman to get rid of her stuff.
I mean, a lot of people have a lot of difficulty getting rid of stuff, but from personal experience, I can confirm. Anyway, Oldman, welcome back as always. It should be it should be a good adventure. You're going somewhere very new, so maybe you might have some difficulty actually writing. We'll see.
Oh, I'd rather face whatever Bartholomew has than deal with this anymore.
Exactly. And next today we have Euchaunkas Ouwoupli, the High Priest. Euchaunkas, how you doing?
Great. Been I'm doing good.
And
how are you, floating head?
There is more to me than just a floating talking head, Euchaunkas.
No.
Okay.
No.
I suppose that's fair. So. You know a great many things. You knew of the cloud, and no doubt now you know of me, which is most people just kind of talk to me. They don't realize anything's weird, that they're just talking to this disembodied voice.
Yeah, it's really odd that no one finds this weird. Like, does no one else see the void around us when we're talking to you?
I guess they don't. No one else is saying anything.
Fine. It feels like an interview room. I always feel so special.
Yes, I thought it was part of the interview process.
Why is he doing this?
Euchaunkas, don't worry about such things. I have to ask though, how's your Inquisition going?
Great. I think I have a new recruit.
Oh,
his name is Eddie. He only appears to me in my dreams. We've become great friends. And he can kill people in their dreams.
Interesting. I thought Eddie died, but I guess he just always comes back, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I met him like 2 weeks ago when I was at that stupid camp.
The camp.
Yeah. And everyone died.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that all happen. I would have joined in, but I can't hurt my fellow adventurers.
Yeah, weird, huh? Weird that magic kept going, but they could just die from other things. Who'd have thunk?
Yeah.
Well,
but no, Eddie's good. He showed up and he's we've got a real connection. He seems to open up a lot. I don't really know why. I think it's this cloak. This weird cat thing.
Your cloak of cat friendship. Well,
Yeah.
Euchaunkas, I'm sure that this might be the first non-meal benefit that cloak's ever given you, huh?
Yeah. Instead, it gave me an inquisitor that can kill people in their dreams.
Well,
which is really helpful. They never see it coming.
Most people don't. Well, anyway, Euchaunkas, congratulations on the new recruit for your Inquisition. I'm sure it's going to go well. I'm sure everything's going to go well. It always does. It seems to always go well for you, Euchaunkas. And of course, welcome back to. And speaking of always going well, Sugarmama, how are you?
Oh, hello there, disembodied voice, who I've come to know as Jeremy.
Yeah, no, that's what my name is, Jeremy. Sugarmama, you're so sweet.
I don't think so.
That's why they call you the sweet, isn't it?
Yes, but things have been a little hard lately with the summer. All of our candy crops are melting, and Papa's gone on a long voyage to try and salvage some sort of thing. The Hot Tamale tribe is doing rather well, but they're rubbing it in, as you say. Quite rude.
Oh. Who are they? Who tribe?
The Hot Tamale tribe. They're...
Oh, the Hot Tamale tribe. I understand. Yep.
Yes.
I know them very well. They're a little hot-headed, I think,
Yes, they're quite boastful. They're always boastful when our candy crops melt in the summer. It's been an especially hot one. A bit of a scorcher up in the mountains.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I hear those ice cream rivers are really flowing.
They are.
Well,
A lot of
Sugarmama.
Swedish fish catching in those rivers. It's hard.
Well, I was going to say, Sugarmama, at least, you've got some supplemental income here with Bartholomew's adventuring. So
yes.
It's not too
Sugar Mama's bringing home the candied bacon, if you will.
Oh, I will. I love candied bacon. And I love you, Sugarmama. As always, welcome back to DnDTime. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting adventure for everyone. And last but certainly not least, Dread Emperor Nijel Astrada. Nijel, how are you?
I am doing quite well, Jeremy.
Now, Nijel, I hear you're still rocking that, slightly... it's, more soothing in a different way. It's very smooth. That voice, I mean.
It's quite soothing, indeed. I've tried to find remedy to this, but it appears full remedy is beyond my grasp.
Well, that's not too bad. You can embrace it. I mean, you are the Dread Emperor, after all. What's the worst case scenario? Make people like it. Right?
Finally, a man of understanding. It has had its advantages. I might actually have to look at that Paladin's other works. I hear he's released a few others.
Yeah, I mean, Cho'Gall is just on a tear with his books, his novels. They've been top sellers. But I'm wondering, Nijel, how are you doing? What have you been up to in the last, I don't know, it's been a couple weeks since we've seen you, I think, right?
Indeed. Rather recently, I heard a report of some younger adventurers who had encountered something that sounded faintly familiar. Apparently, there have been dark forces stirring with the llamas, so I've been dealing a great deal of research into what llamas might have to do with things.
Well, I'm sure this isn't some sort of very blatant and forced foreshadowing for some future event. But I'm sure, no matter what, it's going to be a very... I'm sure your research will definitely pan out eventually. Are you still worshiping this inscrutable eldritch being?
Of course.
I mean, worship's kind of like a loose term anyway. It's more of a deal, right?
It's more of a mutual respect.
Or respect. See, that's even better. Well, Nijel, I wish you your best on your search for power. And I hear there's this Pete guy who makes an excellent patron. We can talk about that later, though. For now, let's jump right into our adventure tonight, entitled Ascension. So you have all been hired, being some of Bartholomew's fabled adventurers, known throughout the lands, renowned for your specific abilities or knowledge. In the case of Oldman, you have been hired by the city of Tritanic, an undersea kind of city where 3 very large trigonome ships crashed centuries ago and has formed a large artificial reef. The reef now is a bustling metropolis of fish and other aquatic wildlife like sea elves and triton and the likes. You have been hired to head out there because apparently something has happened that's been very wrong. Some of their wizards, their researchers, have maybe they've pushed magic too far, and you're not entirely sure what to really expect until you really start making your way. And you're on a ship heading out toward the town, and as you're getting out there and you're riding on this ship, you're starting to see things that just are a little off. You're seeing seagulls with like 4 or 5 wings, and not like well-positioned wings. They're just kind of everywhere. You're seeing sea lions splash out of the water, but they've got multiple heads or like tentacles coming out of their backs. You're seeing fish that are just they're swimming like backwards, wiggling their head back and forth, and they keep smacking into the boat because they can't see where they're going. And all of the creatures are just very, very bizarre.
There are so many new creatures to draw. This is a landmine. I mean, gold mine.
Extra wings just means extra meat.
So Euchaunkas is having a field day, taking on these animals. Oldman, I assume, drawing them, cataloging all these new bizarre creatures. Sugarmama, Nijel, what are you two doing on this vessel as you head out on this wooden ship toward the city?
Oh, I'm just looking out at all the poor deers. They look a little odd. Wonder what's causing that weirdness. They just like that, I suppose. Shouldn't judge them for their appearances.
This is clearly what nature intended.
They taste fine.
Euchaunkas.
They have like a weird like zing to them that you can't quite put your.
Kind of spicy. Was that lemon?
You might want to water that down with some candy, don't you think?
No, heretic.
Did you say candy?
I worship the great big ice cream cloud in the sky.
Great big cloud. It's not just ice cream.
Well, we're from the Candy Rock Mountain sect. You must recognize us, don't you?
As heretics.
Oh, how dreadful.
I'm from the real sect.
As you're having
Is it
this
even
like
a sect if it's real?
this sudden kind of confrontation
Good point.
between Sugarmama and Euchaunkas is coming to as it's kind of coming to a head. The captain of this ship, who is a Triton, walks over to you all, and he says, "Why, hello, we're going to be submerging soon. Why are you laughing?"
Nah, no reason. You just sound stupid.
That is somewhat rude. But anyway, you should all get dressed into your suits if you cannot breathe underwater. Well,
All right.
voice is just kind of changing.
Do you have a suit for my sketchbook and a pen?
Do you have suits that accommodate tails? I have a tail.
Or a plastic bag or something to put them in to keep them dry?
Oh, we can give you a bag, no problem.
Thank you very much. Now let's figure out how to write it in the bag. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they give you like a crappy plastic bag that you just like tie around your book and pen. So like you can kind of draw, but it's a lot harder.
No, I will use mending to sort of seal it shut.
Ooh, nice. Vacuum seal. Well, not quite vacuum because you need to move stuff around, but I dig it. But yeah, as you kind of seal that, a couple of the other crewmen, they're also kind of like aquatic elves and tritons. They're seafaring creatures, aquatic creatures by nature. Come out with like a large iron ball with a bunch of like hoses kind of coming off of it and little glass orbs you'd put on your head. And the Triton explains to you that this is what they have for people who can't breathe underwater. If you don't have some way of breathing underwater, you're going to have to use this. Someone's gonna need to carry around the orb. You don't want the hoses to get attacked, or obviously they'll break. So
I can carry it. Don't you worry, dears.
What's your strength score, Sugarmama?
Well, it's not good. 10.
Is it at least a 10? All right, so you're good. You can carry it under one arm, but it's like pretty heavy.
Oof. Don't worry, I've got this.
And you all find yourself kind of tethered within 15 feet of Sugarmama if you're wearing these dumb head things. So do all of you need to wear this, or can some of you breathe underwater?
Well, I can try to breathe under. Nope.
Oldman sticks his head in like a bucket to test. It doesn't. As you put on the glass orbs, you can feel like a cool air, maybe a connection to the elemental plane of air, kind of whooshing in and filling with refreshing and crisp air. So that you all get ready, you're all prepared. They give you some like big lead boots to wear to keep you on the bottom so you don't float away. And they tell you, all right, so we will be engaging the portable iceberg in just a moment to sink the ship and bring us down to Tritanic. Are you all ready?
Seems unusually inefficient.
Well, you do what you got. And with
Could
that,
we not just step off the ship? Oh, go.
He's like about to throw this tiny, it looks like an ice cube upside. He says, I suppose if you want to do that too, that'd be much easier.
Yes, let's go. All right, everybody all at once. And 1, 2, 3.
Sploosh! With a splash, you all disappear into the water as bubbles begin to bubble out everywhere, kind of out from under the glass bubble, the glass orbs you're all wearing, as more air is continuously pushed in by the iron sphere. You find yourselves underwater and beginning to sink and sink. Up above, you see the bright light of day quickly disappear as you sink and fade down into the dark depth. However, after like maybe 10-15 seconds, you're all kind of getting your grips. You see the Triton guy who is on the ship next to you. He's in the water next to you. He just kind of waves and he tells you, direct yourselves to follow me. And he kind of leads you in a direction as you're kind of directing your fall, your slow descent.
Oldman casts light as it's getting darker.
It gets darker and darker.
Even though Sugarmama has a swimming speed, she'll go a bit slower for those who don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Oldman and Nijel who have a rough time in the water.
Nijel will put light on his sword.
Excellent. So you got two sources of light. You are a beacon in the middle of this empty, vast void of the ocean. And then you start to see fish swimming around. Little schools of mackerel and other things. And then like a full fish person swims by and just kind of waves at you with one of his slippers.
Wonderful. At this point, Oldman stops swimming and lets the tube drag him along as he starts sketching the fish.
Well,
Oldman, it's much harder to sketch in this, but it's doable. What, Sugarmama?
I suppose I can just swim at my normal speed and tug them along.
Yep. It seems that the cords, the plastic tubing that connects the iron sphere to the head pieces is definitely tough enough to drag them along.
All right.
without any risk.
Thank you. You're such a sweet lady. What's your opinion on purses?
As you descend, you begin to see below you all sorts of different creatures and swimming lights as 3 massive iron shells of ships begin to appear in the distance, all grown over with coral, and with what becomes apparent as you go down, buildings kind of built into the sides out of coral and not driftwood, but wood from ruined ships, pieces of iron from the large steamboats that once sunk here, and shells and things like that. You see bright neon lights kind of flashing below you from the signs of what is an incredibly large and bustling metropolis here under the sea. I assume you all just kind of direct yourselves to fall with this Triton, though?
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
Why not?
But yeah, as you do so, you begin to hear like sounds that's very, very distant at first. But as you're falling closer and closer to the ground, you're falling into a very large, kind of open, like almost public park area of this metropolitan sunken ship city. And you can hear the sounds of like a crowd yelling and jeering, and they're definitely not happy. And you see hundreds of fishmen and tritons and sea elves and other aquatic creatures just yelling. Some of them have signs, and you also see a whole bunch of just swimming around tritons with like weapons, seemingly in like military like garb, large shell crusted armor and things like that, that seem to be patrolling around the city to keep it safe. But yeah, as you kind of approach, you end up going right past this crowd and toward the building that they're all gathered around. You can see that soldiers are kind of keeping them back from storming the place. And the Triton who led you down here says, "All right, we must go forward and talk with Mayor Flats immediately. It is very important."
Oh, all right. What's all the hullabaloo?
Oh, it's people very unhappy. They are extremely angry about the MMOs, the magically modified organism. And you hear people like yelling, the fish people and things in the crowd. They're like, "Think of the children!" And someone else is like, other people are just like, "It's just not natural." And then one other person is just like, "Is anyone else in this rally more concerned about the monsters that we see and not like the ethics of this?" But people are just kind of not ignoring him, and they're just continuing to argue and yell.
That guy has a point.
Nothing's like, monsters!
You're all just kind of ushered in right as like above you see a couple of large, terrifying, they look like lions, but the back half of them is like flippers and stuff, start to like rush forward to like attack the crowd from above. But you see the soldier kind of Triton people begin to fight them off. But the Triton who's been guiding you says, "We do not have time to deal with that. The soldiers will keep the monsters at bay. But for now, you need to talk directly with Mayor Fishflatson." And you are brought in to the mayor's office. You're ushered forward. The crowd's jeers kind of dying into the background. And the kind of perpetual bubble of your headpieces, all you can really hear. But yeah, you're led forward into a very fine-looking administrative building of like a mayor's office. And as you enter into what is clearly the mayor's actual office, it's a very fine chamber. There's a small fireplace that actually has like a glass orb around it and a fire burning. There's a painting kind of up like on the fireplace above it that is all smeared and runny from the water. And you see on the far end behind a dark oak table, sitting in a large red velvet wingback chair that looks a little too damp because it's just completely underwater. It looks a little bloaty. You see a flounder, both his eyes kind of on the front of his head, one on top of the other, and he looks toward you and says, "Ah, why, hello, you must be Bartholomew's adventurer."
Yes.
You sound like a follower of the conch.
"Oh, I don't buy into that conch business. I do not have any time to deal with such things in my station."
Have you ever spoken to the Bullywog King?
No, I have not.
I feel like you two would get along.
Well, dearie, what seems to be the matter? There's a big hullabaloo about these MMOs.
Oh yes, the kids, they love their MMOs, but unfortunately the older people don't seem to like them very much. Additionally, I believe they may be kind of responsible for the monsters we've been seeing all over the place. We're gonna need you head directly to their headquarters. It is under the iceberg, sort of a submerged iceberg. It's very cold. It's on the outskirts of town to the east. We haven't heard from them in a few days, and the monster seems to be centered around there. If you could check it out and figure out what's causing all this and keep the monsters from coming.
Are we gonna have someone lead us there, or are we just going to expect to find it our own?
Well, it's pretty straightforward. You should be able to see without any difficulty. There's a gigantic iceberg floating in the water.
All right.
It's effectively unmissable.
Well, you'd be surprised at the things we can miss.
Yes.
If you do desire, my Tritan, the greeter from above, could lead the way. He is a familiar, and the Tritan says, yes, I am familiar with the place. This is a
Thank
interesting
you
area.
much, dearie.
I didn't realize that familiars came in your type of form.
Indeed, it will be quite nice to have a familiar come in with us.
I do not think that is what they may have meant. No, it is not what I meant, however.
You're familiar, dear.
He is
It's
your
all
familiar
right.
now, so that is your new station, greeter.
Are you
And,
saying he belongs to us?
I wouldn't say that. It would be
I'm
more the
Consider
familiar
it
of
an
the man.
advancement of your payment.
All right, I'm cool with this.
They're trying to just like,
Seems appropriate.
this does not seem equitable to me.
Oh, come, you're familiar. He's given you order. Shall we make way?
Yes.
Yeah, you all kind of make your way out. The Triton's still kind of like protesting to a degree. He just seems confused. And he thinks that he's just going to be guiding you there. At this
Don't
point.
worry, we have a dragon you'll be wonderful friends with.
Yeah, you all kind of like have a difficult time because the hallways are a little narrow here. They're meant for like maybe 2 people to walk abreast, but there are 4 of you, a big metal orb, and a bunch of tubing. So it's a little weird, a little like you gotta finagle a little bit. Sugarmama's got to be in the middle. And you make your way out into the town. You're let out through like a back door or a side door to avoid the crowd. And the Triton guides you across the city. Before long, you have reached the north side. You pass by large, what look like massive spiraling shell structures, shell-like buildings with glowing red and green neon lights that just kind of flash, and it says, Conch, join us, Conch, and things like that. As you walk by a couple Conch mega churches. But all of that is left far behind.
So dreadful.
as,
Blasted conch.
toward the outskirts of town, everything just seems kind of abandoned. There's like a zone where there's a bunch of soldiers all along the edge. You can see that part of the town has just been abandoned on the outskirts because of these creatures in this area. And you see a few like dead things floating around, like a giant crayfish. And you like it's just really weird things. One looks like just a regular old dragon, which is just really weird to see here. And yeah, just a bunch of dead things. Up ahead, you can see a very large, dark shadow cast. And as you look up, somewhere floating maybe halfway between where you are and the surface of the ocean, there's just a large underwater glacier that's blocking vision, or not blocking vision, but darkening the area before you. Yeah, you head out and you get to a dilapidated building. And yeah, it says Freezy HQ. And as you look at it, it seems to be the place where they create these MMOs, these magically modified organisms.
So, Mr. Familiar, I never got your name. What is it?
Yes, my name, it is Chad.
Your new name is Bill.
I do not like this name.
Can it be Billy McFishface?
Very
Shouldn't
well, I
we leave-
am somewhat more amicable to that name.
Should we not leave things simple and merely call him Familia?
That's fair. I don't want to memorize his name.
I'm sorry about them, Chad.
He rolls his eyes. Thank you, sweet old lizard lady. You know, there are many lizard people who come here for trips. It's a very
Why?
popular tourist destination.
Why?
I do not know.
Well, maybe I
Something
can bring
about
my
the
husband.
cuisine. Very
That's
good.
fair.
Very good cuisine.
It's a shame that all these creatures are dead, though. They make dead things make no good for drawings.
They also eat people, so it's very bad. If
So?
you would be okay, I would prefer not to go any further. I know I was told to kind of guide you, but they kind
Oh
of
no,
put a
you're with us
dilapidated
now.
building.
Don't worry, you'll be safe.
Familiar.
I feel so safe.
Familiar. What religion do you prescribe to?
I follow the great conch.
I see. Yes, you can come with us.
I understand your desire to have a follower of such a.
No.
Mm.
Is
This looks
it not?
confused.
No.
You say, Nijel?
Is it not natural for Familia to accompany its master into combat?
Look, I just don't want to go into there. And as he points,
Oh,
you all
darn.
look and you can see a dilapidated structure. Large chunks of metal and iron just kind of falling down. There's a large double doorway that's just kind of smashed open, leading into some sort of an abandoned and destroyed foyer, where pieces of ceiling and roof are just collapsed in. A large banner kind of hangs half falling down, which you can't really read what it says on it from this distance. Barely visible in there with your light cantrips illuminating. And at this point, I think you all kind of head in to investigate.
One thing
This is
before
a
we
nice time to put on some armor.
Indeed.
One thing before we
Me,
enter.
Jeremy.
How far away was that dragon you mentioned that was floating?
It was like a little way. You could get it on the way back, you think.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it was like a sea dragon. It was real weird looking. It's like as you got around and saw the back of it, it didn't quite look like a real dragon. It looked very similar though. You're not really sure what it was. You've never seen anything like it. Very spiny and frilly.
Ooh, spiky. I do enjoy a little variation.
And Familiar looks at you all and says, could I just stay in the back then?
You can stay with me, but you're still going. Come on.
Well-
But Chad should be allowed to go home. I'm
Oh,
sure
no,
he
I
has a
think-
fish wife and fish children.
Actually, I am fish gay, but thank you anyway for your concern.
Oh well.
Thank you. Feel like a
Fish
slayer.
husband, that it's fine.
He's a familiar, don't worry.
This,
We can always resummon him if something
conjure this
happens.
familiar back if he dies.
I'm fine with that.
but he
I'm
is
not
the
fine
only
with that.
one not connected to this.
What, Chad?
I do have
Stop.
find familiar, don't worry, it'll be okay.
Chad just kind of
Yes.
rolls his eyes and says, whatever, I'm getting paid overtime for this anyway. Let's go.
Alright.
Who's gonna lead? What's your marching orders? You kind of like begin to investigate this dilapidated structure.
Sugarmama's in the back.
Sugarmama's all the way in the back with Chad. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
with Familiar.
And
Yeah.
Oldman,
So Oldman, the Familiar, and Sugarmama are in the way back. And I guess I put Nijel and Euchaunkas in front.
Nijel
So you're
will blaze a path with his light.
Okay, radical. Your light kind of shines, and before you see like things where like parts of walls have been destroyed and pipes kind of stick out. Immediately as soon as you enter, there's like an upper balcony area, which kind of, and some stairs leading up. Stairs seem kind of redundant in the water because you can swim, but they're there. One of the staircases is partially collapsed. They wrap around both sides of the room of this large foyer, and you can see something small kind of quickly scutter up on that top level as soon as you enter.
Oh my! I didn't
Just a
like
small
that.
shadow. Where do you all go? From here, you can see that there's a big set of double doors directly in front of you, leading deeper into the facility. There are two sets of doors on either side of the room that are smaller, probably lead to offices. And there's the big branching staircase, which leads to the second level.
Well, I'll leave it to the boys to blaze the trail.
Boys?
Nijel, go ahead.
What were our options again?
There are two doors on either side of this entry foyer that you've entered into. They probably lead to like offices and things like that. There's a very large set of double doors directly ahead of you that look pretty banged up. There's some debris around them that lead deeper into whatever this facility is. And there's two winding staircases that go up either side to a second level of this foyer, like a balcony level. And presumably there's another doorway up there.
All right. Yeah, what do you think?
We should likely blaze on to whatever that skittering thing is.
Oldman is just sitting with his sketchbook and pen at the ready.
Sure, let's follow the skittering. Maybe it's small and edible.
All
Or
right.
something we can kill before it gets a drop on us.
You make your way up the one remaining staircase here. The other one collapsed. And as you kind of get up there, you see the skittering as it moves behind like it looks like a big potted plant, but it's like a piece of colorful like pink coral. In the dim light in here, though, it seems menacing, like a skeletal hand reaching towards you. And yeah, you see this tiny little creature skitter behind the kind of pot that it's sitting in the corner of the room. You can see that there is a hallway leading deeper into the facility on the second floor.
Well, with it so small, I'm going to try to communicate with it.
Okay.
Using speak with small beasts.
Oh, so Oldman, you're gonna like move forward and try and like calm this thing and speak. What do you want to say to it?
Pretty much tell it that we're just trying to figure out what's going on. We mean no harm.
Okay. The rest of you, as Oldman kind of in his small gnomish form goes to approach, what do you all do? Are you just watching?
Yes.
Nijel is keeping a shield up ready in case it's something nasty.
Chad, the familiar, looks just kind of bored. He's tapping his foot in the back. He does not seem weirded out or creeped out by any of this. But yeah, Oldman, as you kind of go to approach and you say, we're not here to hurt you or anything, you're like looking around and you're creeping to look around the back of this potted plant. And as you come around, there's nothing there. And then as your head comes up, you see perfectly camouflaged against the coral what looks like dozens of legs coming off of this strange circular crab. Its colors seem to have shifted on its shell color to perfectly match the pinkish purple of the coral. And as it sees you, you see a large kind of jaw open up on the top of its shell, and it screeches at you. And I need you to just roll a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, of course.
And you're good as you kind of duck back. And you kind of like float in the water a little bit. It's weird, but so does the spittle that it spits at you. Just kind of floats into the water, and you back off. And you all see it suddenly turn from its kind of pinkish purple blended color to a very bright red as it skitters with it's got to be like 30 or 40 legs up the side of the coral to like the very top, looking down toward all of you. You see it has like 4 eyes of different size on one side. There's a tiny little part of the shell where there aren't legs sticking out. And it's just kind of looking at you all, seemingly frightened. Oldman, you know this is a beast, or was a beast, but you fear that something may be terribly wrong with it, as you've never seen anything quite like this.
Let me take record of it and begin drawing it as I slowly back away.
Yeah, and as you kind of back away, you all hear a little like skittering, and you can see like kind of climbing over the edge of the balcony a few more of these creatures. But you see the eyes kind of come out of the shell on little like stalks as they look up and over toward you. What do you all do? Is like there are now 4 or 5 of these at least that you all can see.
Well,
Anyone care for some crab legs?
Yes.
I mean,
Right
we're
now they're
kind of
just
on the
watching.
job. You can eat later.
At this point, Familiar gets a little anxious and kind of moves a little toward the middle. Says, maybe we should keep moving. Or kill them, I don't know.
Well, boys, I'll leave it to you if you want to have crab legs, but you're going to eat yourself sick, you know.
Let me finish up my drawing first.
I don't think I can eat myself sick.
I don't know. Those look quite sickening. It might not be a question of amount, but quality.
Yes.
So it sounds like y'all are just kind of sitting around. The creatures just keep watching. They don't attack you at this point.
They seem kind enough. Does
All right.
anyone have any food we could offer them? Preferably something rotting.
Oh, I have some candy. Would that work?
No, let's find out.
Oh, here you go. I made a couple of candy corn poppers, and today, here, each of you can have one. She goes around handing out these candy corn poppers.
Yeah, and like the crabs kind of like skitter back in fear as you approach, but not like too far away, just kind of cautiously. And as you kind of put the candies in the water, they kind of float, and the creature kind of skitters back, and you see it like grab with many of its legs, reach out suddenly and grab the popper and stick it in the little mouth on the top of its head. Nothing really happens for a moment. The creature kind of backs away a little bit.
Well, let's keep moving then.
Yeah.
Further in and further up, as they say.
They seem to be nice enough. And I have wonderful drawings of them.
Yeah, you got some great drawings with the amount of time they were hanging around, Oldman. Even with the difficulty of the bag. But as you head further down, there's this hallway up on the second floor, and as you're heading in, you see the floor is heavily damaged, the ceiling's partially collapsed in places. There are pipes kind of sticking out of walls. And are you guys all, like, I assume you're actively, like, perceiving as you're going? If so,
yes.
Looking for stuff to draw.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for whatever reasons you may be interested in, you may want to roll perception checks, and I'll let you know what you see.
Nijel is
Alright.
keeping an extra eye out for any giant octopuses.
I'm not Archibald.
Interesting. So as you're kind of making your way down, Sugarmama, you're like on it. You're looking around. You're like, I wonder if there's any signs of this. And you see posters all over the walls. They're all damaged and destroyed, but they're like about releases for fancy new MMOs that they'll be releasing and things like that. Different magically modified organisms. This jellyfish can fit out 10,000 pounds of jelly per day. Things like that. They're very like corporate businessy kind of. And they've got like cool
pounds is
graphics.
quite a bit.
Yeah, I know. These things seem ridiculous. These wizards must have really been pushing the boundaries here of what's magically even possible with some of the ridiculous claims on here. And as you're going, unfortunately, Nijel, none of you notice as from behind you, pushing out of a tiny little pipe that juts out through the wall, an octopus sloughs out, and it gets a surprise round on you because it rolled a 25 on its stealth check.
Oof.
Holy shit. So I'm gonna first ask everyone to roll for initiative, and then we'll go and deal with its surprise. I got a 16. Euchaunkas, Mama, Octo, Old, and Nijel last, unfortunately. And Familiar will go at the very, very end, if he's alive. And as the octopus kind of schliffs out behind, you all, like, hear it rush forward just in time, or probably Sugarmama, you look around just in time to see it attack. So it's going to make a barrage of attacks, as it seems, it's not quite a giant octopus. This creature is roughly human-sized, not, like, freakishly huge, but, like, very big for an octopus. And it lashes out with all 8 of its tentacles at you, Sugarmama, you, Oldman, and you, Familiar, who are all in the back. And it makes a horrible sound and whips out. First is going to be at all attacks with advantage, that's surprising you. First, we're going at Sugarmama. It attacks you 3 times.
Oh my.
Holy shit.
Oh my.
And it whips you 3 times.
I can't deal with that. I am afraid, dearie, I've gone down.
Already? Oh my god, really?
Yes.
Holy shit. It then turns, actually, does a 15 hit your AC?
There it does.
It should only be +4, not 5.
The 15 still hits.
Alright, so yeah, it whips you 3 times. We got 2 attacks going at Oldman, Whip and Whip, which I think those actually both miss you, don't they?
Ooh, the second one hits me.
And 3 attacks. Oh, okay, so one of the tentacle whips slaps you, and then it's already used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It uses his last 3 on Familiar. Whip, whip, whip. Oh, God. You see Familiar get slapped on the back and then slashed a second time, and he's just kind of floating in the water like, stunned and seemingly dying. As we enter the top of initiative, Euchaunkas, what would you like to do? Is you see Mama and Familiar just kind of floating in the water, and this large, freakish, greenish, kind of with yellow spotted octopus.
Well, be raised by the cloud, heretics.
Oh, a mass healing word inspires. And actually, Euchaunkas, you feel especially inspired in this moment, and that does its maximum healing.
Oh.
As you feel this strange otherworldly force kind of empower your magic.
That should be...
It's only 4, but...
Well, no, it should add my wisdom. It didn't, for some reason. So that's 8.
Alrighty. Heretic is at full health, and Sugarmama, you are up with 8.
And then
Euchaunkas, is there anything else?
Yes. Sacred Flame.
All right, yeah, your Sacred
God.
Flame
goes
out. This thing is fairly dexterous, but... Nope, not dexterous
Not enough.
The sacred magic burns the Hydroctopus, and it hisses back at you angrily. You see under its under all of its tentacles, it seems to not have a beak or anything under there. It's just kind of an open hole, which is very weird. Sugarmama, it's your turn. You just got whipped in the back twice, barely seeing your assailant before the words of Euchaunkas bring you back. What would you like to do?
Oh my goodness, I'm in a tizzy. This octopotamus creature, it doesn't seem to have eyes.
It doesn't that you see, actually. Yeah, it doesn't have eyes or like a beak or anything. It's got a little like vent that it can propel air out of. That's how it moves.
Very weird looking contraption. Well, it's going to have a bit of a cold shoulder, as you know. Going to throw a candy surprise at it. hopefully.
You throw your candy spice and you actually are going to hit. That actually is going to connect.
Alright, that will be cold damage.
Alrighty. That's 5 points of cold. Whoops. Cool. As you throw your candy spice, it strikes into the Hydroctopus, which screams out in pain. Seems to be actually especially vulnerable to cold damage.
Oh.
As part of it kind of like freezes up in the water around it. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
I don't.
Okay.
I'll just be here licking my little wounds. Getting too old for this sort of adventuring.
The Hydroctopus is going to go. Seeing the familiar still alive, he's going to attack the familiar again. He's going to Wachop, that'll hit. And Wachop, that'll hit. Okay, so the familiar goes down. And then... Wow, holy shit. He misses the familiar. Oh, no, that should be his advantage. So he misses the familiar 2 more times. Half of his attacks are wasted. And then finally hits it again. And you see it, like, smack the familiar, your friend, the fishman, drag him toward it and open that large, gaping, like, hole under itself where its beak would be, and just kind of stick itself on the head of your familiar friend. And so it's just this big octopus sticking off the head of your fish companion, who's not quite dead, but is in real bad shape. And his last 2 attacks are going to go at Sugarmama and Oldman. So Oldman, whoops. It's a 24 to hit. Or 21 to hit. For 4 points of slashing damage, just guy whips you. And Sugarmama an 8. I think that'll miss.
Yes, I've danced away. Hacha! This lady got some moves.
And with that, we move to you, Oldman, the Hydroctopus before you, now atop your familiar. It looks like it's trying to, like, chomp, but it's having a real hard time.
How does it look as far as injuries?
Oh, it looks totally fine right now.
Great. Well then, I guess Oldman is going to get his old man stick and be like, I can't do art when you're hanging on him like that. He's gonna start whacking him.
Okay.
Just bashing him, trying to knock him off.
You hit. All right, 2 bludgeoning damage. You smack the Hydroctopus and it like hisses, but as it hisses, it kind of lets go, and the fishman kind of floats out a little bit. He looks real bad, like brink of death bad. You think you might have bapped him a little bit when you hit the octopus stick.
Unfortunately, that's all he can do.
Okay. We are next. Nijel, what would you like to do as this monster stands before you?
Quickly, to clarify, could one consider cephalopods, terrible bastardizations of nature and such, a bug?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'd call this a bug.
I wouldn't call it a bug.
I wouldn't call it a bug.
It's kind of like a wet bug. Okay, I won't use my one thing that can do some bug stuff, and I will just give it a nice, good old booping, reaping.
Good try.
I try when I try.
That
Oh,
will
wow.
actually hit. His AC's terrible.
Oh, how wonderful.
Despite the fact that his... Oh my god.
Hey,
Despite the
that's
fact that
almost max.
Despite the fact that his tentacles, like, whip very quickly, the body is clumsy and slow. And yeah, you're going to connect for 28? Is that it? Is that the end of your turn?
That'll do it.
Cool. As you swing your scythe, you see it slashes one of his tentacles off as it reaches up to try and deflect, and the tentacle's just kind of floating in the water. Euchaunkas, it's your turn.
I move forward and pull the familiar away.
Okay, he's like dying.
Oh. So you're so much good the conch did you.
And he's not dying anymore. As you pull the familiar back.
And then I'll throw a spiritual weapon at this octopus.
Excellent. What's the spiritual weapon look like?
A little floating cloud that punches things.
Yeah, your little floating cloud appears and thwacks. And yeah, 7 points of force damage. Very nice. As it slams, it thwacks into it, the Hydroctopus kind of rears back a little bit in pain, looking. You're not sure, like, it doesn't make expressions because it has no eyes or anything, but you can tell it's like reaching with its tentacles toward the familiar, like it wants to eat it. Like it was trying to a minute ago. Sugarmama, what would you like to do?
Well, I'd say that it seemed not like the little chill I gave it earlier. Is anyone around it still?
Any what?
Is anyone around it still?
Anyone? No, I don't think so. Everyone's. Oh, Nijel's up near it.
Oh,
But
well.
if you do have an area of effect thing, you could like just launch it behind the Hydroctopus and not hit Nijel if you want.
Oh, alrighty. Let's see. Have this.
Ah! A sudden rush of snowy ice appears. The Hydroctopus is able to save. However, it's going to take double damage from the cold anyway. So it's another 12 points. As the snowballs kind of slam into it, and it just begins to like writhe and twist. You see like the water freezing up all around it. And is that the end of your turn?
Yes.
Yeah, on its turn, as it begins to go, you see from the stub of its tentacle, 2 more tentacles beginning to sprout out, but then freeze up and break in the cold. And so the Hydroctopus will attack with its 7 tentacles exclusively at you, Nijel. And it goes thwack, 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 thwack.
3.
All right. The barrage of tentacle whips slam into you. And like, I assume those hurt you like kind of badish. Like that hurt, right?
Let me double check.
5, 9, 16 points, I think, right? Yeah,
Pretty solid.
Yeah. And that is the end of the Hydroctopus's turn. Oldman, what would you like?
Are these snowballs persistent?
They are, right? Sugarmama, the snowballs keep falling.
Let me.
I actually am not familiar with the spell. I'm not super familiar.
Let me double
Look at
check. It is an
They're
instantaneous spell, so no, I'm afraid.
So yeah, no snowballs. They're gone now.
And how is this creature looking?
He's looking like the Hydroctopus is still looking like okay, but it's gotten pretty beat up at this point, so it's not looking like as good as it could look. Like it's not quite bloodied yet, is what I think I'd put it as. Bloodied meaning at half its hit points, but it's close.
Well then, Oldman is going to. It's not going to be very effective, but he's going to try anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to use. Oh, shit.
Every time.
Oh, roll 20, you dog.
He's going to use Foxfire!
Oh, brother.
And he's going to fire 3 foxes made of fire to run at this little octopus and crash themselves into it.
Okay, they'll all hit him. These tiny little fiery foxes. Oh, jeez. Damn. Holy shit. I was confused as the little foxes kind of bam, bam, slam into it. They seem to be a little less effective under the water.
Yeah, I thought so.
But they do hit it with like a resounding sizzling kind of hiss of steam, which the creature also doesn't like. It doesn't seem like the creature is any resistant to fire. It's just the water itself is kind of resisting it to a degree. And as the little foxes slam into it, the Hydroctopus hisses out in anguish. Is there anything else you'd like to do, Oldman?
Well, begin trying what I can while it's still alive.
You quickly take out your sketchbook and rush draw. Nijel, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna go after those tentacles because that's getting annoying.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I mean, you hit its AC is 11, so. Alrighty, and that is 2 tentacles down as you slash. Or, I'm sorry, it's 1 tentacle. You get 1 tentacle.
Slash.
Yeah, slash. You take the tentacle off, and the first slash with the scythe kind of like hacks into it, and the second one is more like you grabbing the tentacle and just pulling and ripping and slashing it the rest of the way off. The creature seems quite frightened at this point. It seems like revulse, a little bit of like green Icarus blood kind of diluting into the water around it. Is that the end of your turn, Nijel?
That will do it.
Radical. Euchaunkas.
Well, my spiritual weapon will attack it.
Cool.
Start.
The little cloud baps into it for 12 force. Yeah. All right.
And then I'll swim up to it and punch it.
Okay.
Just make sure this is using the right spell thing. Which it's not.
Well, just hit the button.
There we go.
Oh. As you go to reach forward, unfortunately, you just kind of like grab at the you grab a tentacle and your dark energies kind of strike through it. Unfortunately, the tentacle Nijel just cut off. And is that the end of your turn now, Euchaunkas?
Yep.
Sugarmama.
Oh,
At this point,
hello.
the hydroctopus looks like it's considering flight, rather.
All right. Well, what was the job again, boys? Were we supposed to get rid of them, or we were supposed to let them run away?
Your job was to deal with the source.
Okay. Do you boys want to kill it, or do you boys just want to leave it be?
It should die.
I just want to draw it.
If it flees, it's of no concern of ours.
All right, you just got 3 totally different answers, Sugarmama. What's the say? Like, there were only 2 options, but you got 3 answers that are all totally different.
And not one of the 2 options. Well, I'll just let it be then.
Alrighty, on its turn, you can see a cloud of just kind of green ichor spliffs out of its mouth, and it kind of blocks all sight as it makes this green, strange ink cloud in the water, and you hear it whoosh away down the hallway you came from, and you're all kind of blinded in this green cloud. Oldman, do you want to do anything? You felt it whoosh away with the water current.
Well, I guess just shore up my drawing from memory.
Continue blindly trying.
Bad sketch, but I tried.
Okay. Nijel?
It has slid, right?
It seems to have, yeah.
Just make sure I'll swing at where it was.
Okay, yeah, nothing's there.
Okay.
Euchaunkas?
I guess it's gone.
You want to chase after it?
No.
I mean, there's only one way it could have gone, unless it's squished into a pipe.
Yeah, but it's fast. Probably. And not worth the effort. No.
Okay. And Sugarmama, we already know you don't, so you all kind of stop and regroup a little bit, and in a moment you find the greenish ink disperses. It's definitely not very effective. Something very wrong with this octopus, that its ink is green and doesn't work very well. And as it disperses, you see like maybe 30 feet down the hallway, it's got like a bunch more arms now that have sprung up from the place where Nijel chopped one off. So it has 8 again. And it's just kind of like trying to swim, but having a very hard time. It's bumping into things because it has no eyes.
Oh, poor dear.
As it's just kind of swimming down the hallway. It's like 30 feet back.
That's stupid.
It's clumsy as hell.
I can refine my drawing more wonderful.
Oldman, you
Life
quickly
will
finish your
be its
sketch.
punishment.
And
So perhaps we should do something about dear Chad. He seems to be a bit dead.
yeah, he's alive actually.
Fine.
He'll live.
He's sleeping. Worst case, I could use Find Familiar and make him again.
That takes time, though.
It
Oh.
does, but
Sugarmama's gonna go ahead and cast Unseen Servant to start escorting him out.
The uncertain servant's gonna pull Chad out. Okay.
Whoa. Where do you think he's going? Grab him.
He's going away. He can't be of use to us.
He's fine. He'll be fine. Have the servant just carry him around with us. If he takes him out, he'll probably die on the way out. The octopus is that way.
True.
I suppose. Servant, bring him along, I suppose.
So there's this like unconscious fishman just kind of floating along behind you as you make your way down.
it's almost like he's awake. He's
Oh.
just as useful anyway.
It
At
doesn't
least
really
he's less
look like
snarky.
he's awake. And you continue to head down the passage, which you see it opens up into onto the balcony overlooking a large chamber below. And as you kind of look down, you see some strange sights. It opens up into a huge open chamber. You see large metal boxes just kind of scattered all over the ground with like bizarre arcane runes on them and like animal pictures. It's like this animal plus sign animal, just all over the place. They're in various states of disrepair. Some of them lie open, others are still closed. And on top of that, you see what looks like maybe 15 human-sized krill in various, like, some of them more pinkish, some of them more transparent, and they're all just kind of standing around in the room, some of them with very large seahorses, all of them with spears and shields and other weapons. You see one in particular wearing, like, plated leather armor, who is yelling at a bunch of fish wearing, like, wizard robes and lab coats and things who seem to be cowering, and the krill is looking at them and says, You will enlarge more of us, or we will kill you like the rest of them. Ugh. And the fishmen are like, oh God, oh, we'll do it if we have, don't kill us. And they're very, very pathetic looking. And yeah, there's like kind of like sparks shooting out from the debris in this room. And you see that one entire side of the room has kind of been broken open and has like an escape area out into the ocean. So what do you all do as you kind of come out onto this balcony overlooking all this? They do not seem to notice you at this point.
Well, I guess Oldman begins drawing. He's like, wait a minute. I need to finish this.
Okay.
How tall is this room?
The room itself, you're probably about 15, 20 feet up. There's no fall damage underwater, keep in mind. And it goes another like 15 or 20 feet. So 30-foot height, maybe like 30 or 40 feet across. It's a weird cylindrical room for the most part, except for where the wall's broken open on the south end. You're coming from the east.
I trust you, boys. Go at it.
Nijel, would you like to get in nice and loose?
What was the ratio of krillmen to fishmen?
There are 15 krillmen, and there are 15 krillmen and the big krill that you see, and a bunch of large seahorses, and there are 4 fish scientists. There are a couple dead fish scientists. They're belly up, floating on the ceiling of the chamber, and the fish scientists are like, "No, Aquila, please don't kill us," and the krill, "Ha ha, my warband will take over the entire sea." And what do you all do?
How far are we from them?
About 20 feet.
Nijel.
I'm gonna detect thoughts.
Okay.
What were you saying, Oldman?
Oh no, I'll let him do that first.
Yeah, Euchaunkas, you focus in on your very large tentacly hat, actually. And as you think with your pontiff on, it's a pontiff, right? Whatever.
Mitre.
You think, mitre, shit.
I think a pontiff is a
Pontiff is like
Person?
a role, is a person. With your mitre on, you focus and you read the thoughts. And on the surface, there is Aquila the Hun, who wants to lead his Krill people to conquer the ocean. There is a... Oh, wow, it's interesting that you just did that. There is the fishmen who are all terrified, and they're saying like, oh my god, I'll never see my family again. I don't want to die like the other scientists and wizards, all that stuff. And you also hear the thoughts of a creature, something calling out to you. Oh, like a voice that's just, Euchaunkas, I knew you would come.
What is that? I respond
and
to it.
Sugarmama's here. This is excellent. I knew my children would rescue me.
What the I reach out. I have telepathy. I reach out and say, what are you?
You can speak. You've grown so much. Euchaunkas, I am the cloud.
What?
In a way, in a form. They've trapped me in one of these boxes, some of my essence. I am now inside of a creature that lives here. You must rescue me.
I'm gonna insight this.
Okay.
While Euchaunkas is doing that, Nijel will do a divine sense to see if there's anything funky with the Krillmen.
There's nothing funky with the Krillmen, but you sense one of the boxes is very, consecrated. It's a very magical, divine, holy box, Nijel. Euchaunkas, you felt this force earlier when it empowered your magic, specifically your magical healing. This is one of the more benevolent sides of the cloud. A part of the cloud that represents, peace and eating. Which is, a weird, couple of things, motifs, but, they kind of go together, I imagine, to some degree in the cloud.
I see. I drop to a knee and I say, how do I get you out?
And it says, you must open the cage.
And Oldman looks at him, he's like, what are you doing?
Shush, old man.
Euchaunkas,
Okay.
what's going on?
Euchaunkas finally recognizing my glory, are you?
Wait, what do you need?
The cloud is here, and
The cloud is here.
fucking destroy all of these krill.
Wait. If you want to destroy
where is
them,
the cloud?
Actually,
want to
it was
destroy
the
them.
fishmen who locked me in here.
Okay, I'll kill them too. I really am not picky.
let me at least get you in close. And he grabs Euchaunkas and uses invisibility.
Euchaunkas, you become invisible, and you guys can't be heard with all your talking because Aquila the Hun is ha 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 as the fish scientist wizards are enlarging more and more krill for his horde.
Euchaunkas, where's the cloud? You must help me.
In that
He doesn't know. He doesn't know what box he's in.
It's in a box.
Oh, well, I suppose it might be one of these boxes. I could tell you, Euchaunkas.
That'd be great.
Please
It's that
tell
box
us.
right over there. And Nijel will just point anticlimactically for his build-up.
He just went to the. Okay.
What kind of box is it?
It's a metal, like I said, it's like a metal crate. It's very small. It's only maybe 2 by 2 feet.
Could it be easily opened if someone could get to it?
It looks like it didn't even pried open. It looks like the top is on there pretty well. But you see a bunch of them are opened here, so it's definitely possible.
Does it seem to be made of wood?
No, it's made of metal, some kind of metal containment.
Sugarmama, why don't you drop the familiar?
Well, yes, I'm going to.
Okay,
Unseen
slow
servant,
down.
please go get the cloud and free it.
Oh shit! So Euchaunkas, you're invisible. What are you doing? As the unseen servant goes to get the box, you think it might be too heavy for him to carry? Is the problem?
Reading Akrila's.
You can open it. Try to open it.
Maybe. What was that, Crowley?
Reading Akrila's surface thoughts. He's very crazy, right?
No, he seems
Or
to
extremely
want the best.
full of himself?
Yeah, very much.
Okay, I'm gonna talk to him.
You're just gonna visibly talk to him?
Telepathically.
Oh, shit, okay. And what are you gonna do?
Aquila, you are the chosen one.
You see him just kind of like stop and shudder and blink. By the way, for the record, Nijel, I think krill count as bugs for your thing.
Oh my.
He looks.
Do they count as cats?
No, they don't count as cats. He just looks forward, his eyes kind of blink. Who is there? Which of you spoke to me? He says, and then murders one of the fish scientists with his spear.
That'll work.
And the fish scientist floats up to the ceiling.
Yes, Aquila. Sacrifices need to be made for great power.
Can you roll me a deception check? Or a persuasion check? He believes.
Yeah,
It's not-
and I also believe this.
Yeah, this isn't like a deception by any means. What are you? Strange voice. A couple of the other krill like look at each other like confused, but like they don't want to question Aquila.
A guide on your path. You must sacrifice more, though, Aquila.
You are another part of me. I understand. My
Sure.
own self is showing me the
Exactly.
way to do.
That is
And he
what
takes
is
a
happening.
spear and starts murdering the other fishmen.
Does-
What do you guys think, Oldman?
Does one of the krill look like a second in command?
Yeah, definitely.
I
He's
use
wearing-
message to him and say, "Can you not tell he has gone crazy? You must stop him now."
Can you also roll me a persuasion check? And Sugarmama, Nijel, do you want to do anything in this, or are you just watching this unfold?
Well, my servant's trying to open the box, so.
Oh, great point. Can you roll me an, I guess Arcana, or maybe you're a wizard, right? Yeah, so roll me an Arcana check to
All right.
control your servant. It's a little hard. So you gotta like pick up a crowbar and pry. All right, so you're getting it like a bit of the way. It's coming loose, but it's not all the way there. As they were just kind of like, and Euchaunkas, Aquila is like totally like ripping the fishmen apart, who are like, oh god, and like covering himself with their blood, and it's brutal. But a couple of the other krill like notice that this crowbar is floating up and smacking at one of the boxes, and begin to walk over, and they move over to investigate. Euchaunkas, you're a little distracted. You don't notice that, but Oldman and Nijel and Sugarmama, you see the krill coming over to the box.
What happens to the second in command that I'm talking to?
Right, your persuasion. I think he stays quiet for now, but you see him like looking around, unsure.
Oh my. Nijel, dear, can you do something to get them away from the box? I must free the cloud.
Very well. Nijel will just hop over the side, grub club out.
Murder him!
You two, come here.
They look to you, and like all the other krill see you. A krill of the hunt sees you. An intruder! Nijel, do you want to take your surprise attack, by the way? You can absolutely take a surprise round here.
Sure, I will surprise round on these krill boys. Where's my krill killer? There it is. Ooh, oh my.
Oh shit, yeah, both of those are gonna hit. Their AC is 13. So you swing at one krill. How much damage you deal?
8 plus 6.
Yep. The extra splat damage. You splat this krill and it breaks apart. The second one, I can't even imagine not dying. Yeah, you probably kill that second one, and then chunks of it fly over and hit another krill with that crit. You kind of like baseball the second krill, as now 3 of them are down. Sugarmama and Oldman, you both saw Nijel leap off. Do you want to do anything on your surprise?
Oh, well, sure. I will support him. The servant's there. The krill is there. I think I'll cast a bit of blindness, deafness on him.
On Aquila?
Oh, yes.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And he fails because I foresaw his failure.
Shit. Oh, your portent blinds Aquila.
Yes, he's blind now.
I see nothing! What is this trickery?
Guide him, Euchaunkas.
Oh, I will.
Oldman, what would you like to do?
Well, I suppose. Let's just. Oh, God dang it.
The classic roll 20. I cast letters and numbers, repeating attack.
Let's just do that, like, mid-crowd.
Okay, that'll get 3 of them. 3 of them kind of slump over and fall asleep. The 15 krill are now down to 9. And it is at this point that the second in command yells out, "Clearly we are under attack! Kill them!" And the krill rush forward. And I'm just going to roll this en masse. Nijel, you're the only one down there. What's your armor class?
19.
All right. They only have a +3 to hit, so they got to get a 16 or higher. So it's 2 of them hit, but 1 of them's a crit.
Ooh.
So they attack with their spears. And oh, that should actually be plus. Yeah. It's so hard. Math. Okay, so it should be this. What? Oh. All right, 15 points of damage from the krill who stab at you. But then the lieutenant is going to make an attack against you. Which he attacks with a +6. And misses you, actually. Even with that. And Aquila is, I am blind, what is this? Euchaunkas, what would you like?
This is a test, Aquila. Through blindness, you can find new sight. I'll guide you. And I'm like, move. I give him directions to the nearest krill.
He begins to stumble forward blindly, seemingly buying into your mysticism.
Now strike, Aquila.
All right, Aquila swings, and he attacks recklessly to attack normal. And he stabs at the krill, and oh, that's not correct. There we go. Shanks the krill through, impales it on his spear. Yes, more blood! And swings at a second krill. Oh god. And then swings at a third krill, which he misses a third krill. Yelling and screaming in rage. All right. Euchaunkas, that was your turn, I think, right?
I will use 1 bonus.
Wait, no, that hits. I'll portent it to hit.
We're down to 6 krill.
I'll use a bonus action to cast a level 3 healing word on Nijel.
Excellent.
Is that maxed because of the cloud stuff?
Oh,
or?
absolutely. All healing,
Okay.
all magical healing.
So I think that's
Cloud
just
magic.
that's 16 health.
Ooh.
Alrighty.
That is good.
And I don't even say a word, it just happens because this miter does that.
Magical hat. You hear Euchaunkas in your mind. Be blessed, or whatever. Whatever Euchaunkas would say. And the krill. No, actually, we're at you now, Nijel. What would you like to do? You can see Sugarmama's. Actually, Sugarmama, can you roll for your Arcana check for your?
Oh yeah. There you go.
He's trying, but he's having a hard time.
He's trying.
This little last bit is almost too much.
All right.
So Nijel, now what would you like to do?
How many remaining krill are there?
There are 6 remaining krill.
I will remedy 2 of those at least as I carve a path towards Aquila.
All right, you rush toward Aquila. All right, and yeah, 2, probably 2. I don't think you cannot kill them. Let me look at your damage. Yeah, it is possible that you not kill them. But in this case, you just smash two of them to pieces. Chunks of chitin kind of breaking apart. The seahorses begin to flee. And Nijel, you get to Aquila if you want.
No, he seems to be killing them, so I'll just clear out the others. Nijel is having a field day with this club.
Excellent. Oldman?
Oldman's gonna try this again. He's going to message the lieutenant and tell him to release the secret weapon in the cage.
Can you roll with advantage with your persuasion this time? All right. The lieutenant, doesn't know what's going on. He knows something's going crazy. He sees Aquila going mad, and he can respond, right? What weapon?
The secret weapon that the scientists were using to try to fight you.
He looks immediately at the cage with the crowbar and rushes over to it, and he's going to make an attempt to pry at it.
There's already a crowbar there and everything.
Oh yeah, exactly. He's gonna roll with advantage. He's got a +3. Oh yeah, it pops off the top, and as you all look over, you see an empty metal box. And he looks down and is just, what is this? Some kind of joke? And the other Krill are fighting. Aquila continues slaughtering them. And as you're all just kind of looking, Euchaunkas, you especially, I imagine, feel like some degree of crestfall.
No.
As you're looking. But then you see a tiny little speck begin to enlarge and enlarge. And very, very quickly, it turns from this almost microscopic, tiny little blip in the water to something about the size of a cat. And as it starts to take shape, you can see this is a whale. As it speaks to you in your mind, Euchaunkas, it says, "Thank you, Euchaunkas. You have freed me." And it swims around and begins to just eat little pieces of the smashed krill. And as it consumes, it grows and swells to enormous sizes. And you see this whale begin to just swim gracefully throughout the room, just in the background in kind of slow motion. Aquila is stabbing things with a spear, going berserk, until this whale just kind of swims down and grabs him in one bite, swollen to the size of now a house, a small building. You see it rush towards the opening in the side of the wall, which breaks apart because the whale is now a massive size. It begins to swim through the water, just eating up all of the horrible monstrosities that surround. And as it swims and looks back, it speaks into your minds. "Thank you, my friends. You have rescued me. I was once a part of the cloud, but now I am something more. A union of the conch and cloud. I live only to spread joy to all of their followers. Euchaunkas, you have always been my prophet. I knew that you would come for me. Sugarmama, your joy, it is the joy that I would love to see in all of my people. You other two are pretty cool." And it kind of waves with the flipper and says,
"Please stay still for a moment. Your message will be spread so much better with a drawing."
He just kind of continues gracefully swimming and eating as it swells to a massive, a gargantuan size. It becomes almost as large as an iceberg before it eats the iceberg. As it just doubles in size, this gargantuan creature casting a massive shadow as it swims through the water above. Kind of bewildered, you walk out, look up, and you see it just consuming each and every little thing along its way, along its path. And then it swims back down towards you all. At this point, a creature so gargantuan. It looks to you all and says, "My friends, unfortunately, I must soon go. The people of this world, they need me."
Yeah.
Just one more second.
Of course, everyone needs you.
It's kind of hard to fit you on the sketchpad.
So does this give me also a high position within the conch religion now too, or?
I don't know. But what
I'm
I
gonna
do
say
know
yes.
is I give you each this blessing before I go. And he taps each of you. And you feel yourself blessed by Bill the whale. And Bill looks at you and says, "This is goodbye. I will never see you again." And he begins to swim toward the surface, mouth open wide, just swallowing all sorts of creatures as it goes, is swelling into enormous sizes before. He departs, splashing through the water above. For a moment, there's nothing. But then, as you stare upwards, the beautiful sunny sky, you see a shadow as Bill, this whale, begins to fly through the air above the Crimson Coast.
It's so
Swallowing up all.
I wake up the familiar.
His mouth open wide, scooping all of the little creatures along the way. All of the horrible monstrosities, the seals, the seagulls, everything, as it grows to an enormous size and flies up into the space above. And Bill returns to his home in the space to fly above the lands of D&D in time, a sign of the forever union between the cloud and conch below. And
you see that familiar? That's mostly cloud work.
he's mostly unconscious.
No, I woke him up.
Bill forgot to wake him up.
I healing word. I healing word.
God.
I wake him up.
Yeah, he just looks, and as you stand there feeling like that was weird, or however, maybe you feel #blessed, but you all do feel blessed by Bill the space whale, as you have all gained the ability to breathe underwater.
Hey.
And I also have this wonderful drawing of him. You can use this to spread his word.
No, you also gain the ability to breathe in the air, but you already had that. As you have received the blessings of Bill the Space Whale. And as you all head back to town, triumph and glory in your hearts, you are greeted by the resounding terror of the town. They're horrified about this giant monster. You see like chunks of buildings were eaten up that you just didn't notice them yet. But nonetheless, the creatures defeated, you are all rewarded justly. You received your 200 Bartholomew bucks, 1 point of experience, and have completed my fantastical adventure. Thank you all for playing.
Is the lab still there?
It is, but it is really
I blow
bad.
it up.
Okay, it blows. And, congratulations, everyone. Thanks for playing.
So many good drawing opportunities.
Can we just breathe underwater forever now?
Yeah, you now have an underwater breathing. You can now just do that.
That's
Sorry,
pretty
Pete.
bad.
That is dope.
Yes.
The hype is real.
And Pete,
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
how you doing, Pete?